Patch testing is the recognised clinically proven test used to identify and confirm allergic contact dermatitis. In this video you will see John Carlisle, our primary care allergist, using a patch test in a live demonstration on Lindsay, who wants to know what is causing her skin allergy.
So Lindsay, what sort of symptoms have you been suffering from?
I tend to get a lot of itching and irritation beneath my bra strap at the back where the hook is. If I wear costume jewellery, my ears will blister and really swell up and be very, very itchy. I can only tend to stick to sort of gold and silver, but even sometimes silver jewellery will bring me up in a rash. But it always tends to be underneath earrings, underneath jewellery, as I say, on my bra strap as well.
So how long does the rash tend to last when you get it?
Depending how quickly I realise the irritation is there, if I take the jewellery off very quickly, it'll probably go down after a day or two. If it's quite severe, it can take a sort of week or two to actually completely die down if it comes up, as I say, severely. But sometimes I also react to things like perfumes. I never ever wear perfume around my neck because it will bring me up in an irritation. Some body lotions, I have to stick to sort of fragrance free. So it may be something like that as well.
So what we're going to do is a patch test then, if that's okay. We're going to use one of these commercial panels, which has got, well in fact two of these commercial panels, which have got a range of chemicals on, including nickel, but also chemicals found in perfumes and fragrances and cosmetics, and other chemicals as well that are found in medications and things. And hopefully this will tell us what it is that you're allergic to. So what we're going to do is stick these on your back, one on each shoulder blade roughly, and then leave them there for 2 days, 48 hours, and then we need you to come back so that we can take the patch off and have a look and see if there's any irritation underneath. Now if you feel a bit of irritation under the panel, that shows the test's working, so that's to be expected. But if it's really bad, if it's driving you mad, there's lots of itching and so on, then you can take the test off early if necessary. But then we need someone to mark where the panel's been on your back so that we can still read the result when you come back again. So is there someone at home who'll be able to do that?
Yeah, that's no problem.
So I'll just show you the tests because we're going to stick them on your back and then you won't be able to see what they're like. So it's always good to know what we're doing. So this is the panel. It's just sticky paper, hypoallergenic sticky paper, with all the different chemicals that we're going to test in squares on the paper. So we'll just peel the backing off, stick this onto your back, and you'll notice there's a little cutout there. What we're going to do is mark that with an ink blob on your back, and there's another one at the bottom there. And that shows where the patch test has been. So if you do have to take it off because it's really driving you mad, then we'll know from the ink blobs where the test was, and that means we can check the results when you come back to see us. So there'll be 2 of these, one on each side of your back. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine. Okay, so if you can just, that's it, that's fine.
Okay.
We just need your hair out of the way as well, if you can manage that. Great, okay. So I'm going to stick 2 panels on. One on each side of your back. Just need to smooth them down. Okay, so that's one. And that's the second one. Now I just need to mark the cutouts with a pen so that we know where these are if we do need to take them off. And the same the other side. Okay, and if you should feel that these are starting to peel off, it's okay just to stick down the edges with a bit of tape.
Okay.
And as I say, if they do become really irritated, then get someone to take them off.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Now obviously you need to keep those patches dry, so you're going to have to avoid showering for the next couple of days.
Okay.
And I'll give you this leaflet which explains all about the tests, what's in them, what to do if there's any adverse reactions to them and so on. And we need to see you again in 2 days' time so that we can take the tests off and have a look and see what the results are.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Okay. We use patch testing to identify the allergen triggers in contact allergic dermatitis. In this sort of allergy, the immune system hasn't made antibodies to fight off an allergen, so blood tests looking for antibodies are not appropriate. Instead, certain immune system cells, called T cells, have themselves become sensitive to a particular substance, and when that substance is applied on the skin, it produces a local reaction, usually in the form of a weeping, itchy, red rash. This reaction arises quite slowly after the offending substance has been applied on the skin. It doesn't usually produce an immediate allergic reaction like an antibody reaction can do, and this can make identifying triggers in contact allergy quite difficult. Some sorts of allergens, like makeups, can be tested by an informal patch test, either an open patch test where you just apply the same makeup to the same area of skin a few days in a row and see if that produces a rash, or a closed patch test where you place some of the test substance on, for example, a sticking plaster, apply it to the forearm and see if it produces a reaction over a few days. But this sort of informal test is only appropriate for things like cosmetics and soap powders that you're using at home if your symptoms are fairly mild. In more severe allergic contact dermatitis, or where we're not sure what the triggers are, then we use commercially prepared patch test kits. These contain a range of substances which are known to be common causes of allergic contact dermatitis. Things like nickel, cobalt, a range of fragrances, chemicals used in the manufacture of rubber and in print, and chemicals used in medicines, as well as some chemicals that people might be exposed to at work. Patch tests are applied usually to the patient's back on a clear area of skin and left in place for between 2 to 3 days. They're then removed and the skin is examined to see if any areas of inflammation have occurred where the skin's been in contact with a particular chemical. Sometimes the reaction can come up after the patch test has been removed, so normally the skin's examined again a further 24 hours later to see if a late reaction has developed. This means that the patient will need to attend a clinic at least twice and maybe 3 times, once to have the test applied, 2 to 3 days later to have the test removed, and then possibly again a day later to have the test site looked at again. Interpreting the tests can be quite difficult. Some chemicals cause reactions just by irritating the skin rather than by allergy, and there are different grades of reactions. So patch tests need to be applied and removed by someone experienced in their use and who can interpret the results correctly.
2 days later, Lindsay sees our primary care allergist to get the results of her patch test.
So how have things been then?
It's been quite itchy. Shortly after you put the pads on, about 20 minutes, half an hour, I itched everywhere. So my arms and legs, it just went mad for about an hour or two. That settled down, but now it is quite itchy under the pads.
Okay, so let's have a look and see what results we've got. I'll just peel these off. And the other side. Okay, so on the first test we just have nickel as showing as a positive. And on the second panel there aren't really any positives there at the moment. So nothing there at the moment, but what we need to do is look and see if anything comes up over the next 24 hours.
Okay.
So Lindsay, the result confirms that you do have a contact allergy to nickel, which I think confirms what you suspected anyway. So that means that you need to avoid wearing jewellery that has nickel in. So pure gold, for example, would be okay, whereas cheaper jewellery which has got nickel included in it is likely to bring up the rash. And you'll also find that that's the reason for the rash on your back from the bra clip, which probably has nickel in it as well. The perfume didn't show a positive, so I know you said you get a rash sometimes when you spray perfume around your neck, but I suspect that's probably an irritant reaction rather than a true allergic reaction. At least that's what this test suggests. So I've got a fact sheet here with information about nickel allergy, which I can give to you, which will explain the sort of places where you find nickel and the things you can do to try and avoid it.
Okay, lovely, thank you very much.
Let's see how that goes.
Okay, brilliant, thank you.
Okay.
Another 2 days later, Lindsay's skin had become red and inflamed, as the following photograph shows. If you would like more information on patch testing, please ring the Allergy UK helpline on 01322 619 898 or email info@allergyuk.org.